This meeting is being recorded.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Career Chats. My name is Joan Dixon, and I am the Director of Student Programs at Gulf Coast South Area Health Education Center. It's a lot easier to just recognize us as AHEC. What you see on the screen here is we have our programs within our student programs umbrella. So whether you're thinking about a health career or whether you're just examining your options out there, we have many different free student programs available to you. We have health career presentation that's recorded and it's on our website, so you can do some further research. Did you know that there are over 300 different careers you can choose from just in health? So if you're thinking about being a healthcare professional, congratulations. Which one of the 300 are you going for? Take a look at that video. We have the career chat that we have recorded today, along with a bunch more career chats out there on our website. So you can do some research, peruse those videos, and see if they interest you. We also offer health career camps during the summer within our 4-county service area of Charlotte, DeSoto, Manatee, and Sarasota County in Florida. We work with the HOSA partnerships, that's Health Occupation Students of America, within the high schools. We have an intern program for high school students and college level students to learn all about public health education. And then for graduate level students, usually in medical school or in a nursing program, we have the Scholars Program, which is an intensive 2 years public health program. Thank you for joining us today. You can see that my name, my email address, our website, phone number is all on the bottom of the screen. If you're interested, you can go out and look at all these programs or chat with me to get some further information. I am so pleased that you are here today. We have a fantastic interviewee with us today. She's a pediatric nurse, and my intern, Angela, is having the pleasure of interviewing Anna today. Angela, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hello, everyone. My name is Angela Jimrakovska, and I'm a third-year medical student at Lake Erie College of Osteopathic Medicine in Bradenton, Florida. I'm also a public health intern at Gulf Coast South AHEC, and I'm happy to announce our speaker today is Anna Rodriguez. She is a former EMT, and is now an outpatient pediatric nurse. So first, I would like to start off by sharing a short introductory video to pediatric nursing, and then we'll ask Anna some questions.
There's so much joy and happiness here. You see a lot of these kids, at their worst and then at their best at the very end. And you see them progress and get so much better. And, it's very it's so heartwarming. And every day we're here, I feel like we touch the lives of each and every one of them.
I love kids. I love humanity. Taking them to information to another level. That's why I'm a nurse. That's why I'm here.
I love coming to Children's because it's the whole package. I love the people that I work with. I love the mission and the vision of the hospital. I couldn't come here every day if I didn't 100% subscribe to what this hospital believes in.
I lost my mom at a young age. And I watched all the wonderful nurses help take care of her. And I wanted to give back. And I wanted to be a nurse. And I wanted to take care of children. Just to make a difference in their lives. Changing the outcome.
I just love working with the pediatric population.
Working with children has amazing benefits. I feel like it keeps me young. I'm always very energetic because they give such positive energy. Working with kids is really my passion. I love kids.
I think that pediatrics is more fun. You have to be a little bit more creative, but isn't that the fun part of nursing, is being innovative and creative?
You have to be caring, you have to be passionate, and you can do all of that here in psychiatry.
Nursing is evolving every single day. There's so much you can do with a nursing degree. There's so many different paths you can take. You don't just have to be at the bedside.
I love being in home care services. The experience is completely different. Being able to go to these children's home and give them the top quality care that Children's is known for is really an honor.
There's so many things you could do in nursing. It's finding that one thing that you feel
in your heart is where you're meant to be. That's where you're going to make a difference.
I got into nursing because I wanted to make a positive difference in people's lives, so it gives me that opportunity.
And to be a part of a healing process for them, I can't even explain it. I mean, it causes me to tear up.
When you see a smile on a family's face, or especially the patients, and you know you've made a difference, it's like the best feeling you can ever have.
And it's just not a job. It is our calling. You really do have to love what you do.
Oh, I love what I do. I'm here every day.
Okay, so now that we've had a bit of an introduction, we'll go on to learn more about pediatric nursing from Anna. Anna, if you'd like to go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hey, my name's Anieli Rodriguez. Everybody calls me Anna for short. And I am a pediatric nurse.
Okay, so we'll go ahead and start with the first question. What is your job description?
My job description is triaging the little ones for getting them ready for the doctors or the nurse practitioners to be seen. I kind of like it because you have different personalities, different cases. You have some good ones, and then you have some that are scared of you, and you kind of have to work your way in for them to allow you to touch them, to see them. Then you have your children with autism or any other disability. Same, you got to kind of work your way in there a little bit.
I can see how you kind of have to get creative with some things to go ahead and do what needs to be done.
Oh, yes.
The video we just watched, I also noticed that there are more, it seems like there's more than one specialty in nursing too. I noticed that there's psychiatric nursing and it's still in the pediatrics field. Do you, can you explain like the different specialties that are within nursing itself?
For that, it would, honestly, it's a lot because you would, well, for a child, it takes a lot, I guess you could say, especially if they're nonverbal or they don't want to be touched, or it's just certain traumatic events that the child has had that it's just they have to see or be with, just like like they said, psychiatric. Then you have, well, just different types of nurses, I guess you could say. It's kind of hard, a little hard for me to explain, but it all comes together and we all work together like to be with the children. So can't explain it really good.
So from like pediatric nurse, you can be a pediatric nurse, but within different specialties as well though.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So there's different types even within the pediatric nursing.
Even within the pediatric, yes.
Okay. And you're in general pediatrics?
Just general pediatrics.
And what would you say, can you describe a little bit more about where you work and what the atmosphere in that specific setting is?
Yes, I work at a pediatric clinic. It's a great place to work at. You have little ones running around. You see all type of things that I guess you wouldn't think that you would see, but there's different cases that you kind of learn from. Like, okay, well, I've already worked with an autistic child. I kind of know what to do with the next one that comes in. Some of them are verbal, some of them are nonverbal. So you kind of learn a couple of things with each one of them and they kind of stick to you. So you do your job a whole lot better once you start getting like your experience in with the ones that don't want to be touched, the ones that don't, like they see you and you call their name. They're fine at first in the waiting room and they'll wave at you, blow you kisses and everything. And as soon as you call their name, oh, that's it. Mm-hmm. Yep, they're screaming, they're kicking, they don't want nothing. They're like, no, no, no. So I like it. I love it.
Good. That's good to hear. So you get to see quite a variety of different cases from
yes,
from the sick visits to the well child visits.
Yes.
Patient setting.
All different ages.
And to what age do you typically see pediatric patients?
To the age of 17, 18.
Okay.
That's typically when we stop seeing them, and then they become adults, I guess you could say, after a certain age. But ever since they're newborns from the hospital, 2, 3 days old, they bring them in, and you just see them grow up.
That's really nice that you kind of get to see how their journey is a little bit
Yeah,
too.
how they're growing, and how some of them just come in and, hey.
Yeah. What other fellow health professionals do you work with in that setting?
I work with some MAs. I work with nurse practitioners, and I also work with doctors, pediatric doctors.
And what does the typical day look like?
Typical day would be busy, seeing just children left to right, because some of them are sick, some of them are well, some of them are, I guess you could say, follow-ups, just to see how they're doing. So it's a pretty busy day. Interesting.
And when you start with a patient, you mentioned that you triage the patients. Can you explain a little bit more about what that process entails?
Yes, for a child, we typically go, we call their name, we make sure that it's that child, because sometimes you have children, they have the same name spelled differently and different last names, and sometimes they're like back to back. So they'll be like, well, which one? So we kind of have to know the last name, the birthday, and we have to know if they're female, male. We bring them back, we get their height, their weight. Once we get that, we take them into their room, sit them down on the bed, and then that's when we start taking like their blood pressure, their temperature, their oxygen, everything. And we kind of talk to them and see what kind of is going on before we let the doctor or the nurse practitioner into the room.
Okay. And do you also do vaccinations or anything else throughout the encounter?
Yes, but I kind of prefer not to. I kind of give it to someone else, because if they're smaller patients, like baby, it kind of hurts me because I have my own children. So it's just like seeing them cry, holding them down. It's just like, oh, poor baby. But what, I mean, they're a little bit older and they kind of understand, then it's fine, because they let you, they kind of don't fight with you as much, and they understand why they have to get it, and we explain to them. But if they're little, and no.
Okay. And how many hours do you work per day or per week, you would say?
Per day, I would say maybe 8.5. It just depends on how busy it is and when our last patient leaves. Because sometimes it might just go over a little bit, but I mean, it's understandable because they probably have something going on. They're talking with the doctor, the nurse practitioner, and we're just waiting.
Of course. And how many hours per week would you say that adds up to be?
Per week, I would say about 40, 42 hours.
Okay. And do you feel like it impacts your personal life in any way?
I would say yes and no. Yes, because I have my own children. So you see certain situations and you kind of think about your own children. So you kind of know what could happen. I guess you could say, you know when to stop it. You talk to the parents and they're like, oh, well, it started like this, started like that. You know, they ended up doing this. And so if you see, I guess you could say it's experience for me. So if I see my child doing certain things, I kind of want to catch it beforehand, before it gets to a certain level. So it's a yes and a no.
Okay, so you're kind of like one step ahead of the game, thinking about
Yes, you, and then for the next patient, you already have all that in the back of your head. Like, I'm supposed to look for this, I'm supposed to look for that, listen for this. Or when you're alone with the child and the child's telling you certain things, you kind of have, to pay attention, talk to a doctor before the doctor goes in, to let them know, like, hey, I think this and this and this is going on. And so that's the way we can help a child.
And what would you say is the most satisfying part about your career?
The most satisfying part is when when they're saying bye, even though they didn't want you to touch them or they didn't want you near them. You have some of them that we get that even if they see us and they know that they're gonna get shots or anything, they're so lovable. They'll go and hug you and or they'll pull on your scrubs and they'll look at you like for you to pick them up. I've had children, instead of going with mom, they'll look at me and they'll give me their arms. So I guess you could say that's the good thing, that you work with a whole bunch of children. Sometimes they like you and sometimes they don't, but they love you when they're leaving.
When they're all done, huh? And what would you say on the opposite end of the spectrum? What would you say is your least satisfying part about your career?
The least, I think I would go back to the shots, making a little one cry. I think that's the least, but it has to be done,
Right.
It has to be done. So
right. That's understandable. I can see how that
yeah.
can be a hard part to do. And what did you why did you decide to pursue this career?
Why? Let's see. One, like I've mentioned before, I have children and I kind of want to see what it's like to different cases, I guess you could say, different settings that's out there. For me, I don't know, to me, it's just a pleasure because they make you laugh, they make you smile, they say some things that it's just funny. Sometimes I've had this one 6-year-old before I had swabbed her for flu and COVID and strep. She's like, whoa, 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 whoa. Do you know what you're doing? And I just started laughing. And I'm like, yes, I do. And I promise it won't hurt. She's like, are you sure? I was like, I promise we'll still be friends. She's like, all right, I'm going to trust you. And she let me. And then I was like, see, I told you it wasn't going to hurt. I kind of made you sneeze, but I told you it wasn't going to hurt. She's like, all right, we're still friends. I like you. Right before I walked out the room.
And is there typically when you have to do some of those either swabs or the vaccines or kind of getting a better look at the kids, do you have to kind of get creative with what you say to get them to participate in what you're trying to do?
Some of them, yes. So some of them I'll be like, look, just trust me. If they're a little bit older, I'll just be like, hey, just trust me. I promise it won't hurt. Like, don't move if I have to swab you. And I just kind of talk to them. And like, I'll lean on the table or just sit with them on the bed. Like, trying to get them a little bit more comfortable than anything else. Now with the babies, some of them are, I guess you could say, more, I don't know how to say it, lovable maybe. Like they don't mind anyone holding them. And then you have the ones that you just look at them and they start crying. And I'm like, look, I can pull my mask down and I'm not a bad person. Nope, they will not let you near them. But you give them like a little, sometimes I play with them with my little tape measure. So when I measure their head, I'll be like, look, I just pull it out, push the little button, and sometimes they let me. So I kind of get them entertained in a little way or blow up a little glove into a little glove hand balloon. And sometimes I'll get them when they least expect it.
I see. And that's actually some pretty good ways that you mentioned to get them a little bit more.
Yeah, to get them a little distracted. Yeah.
And what type of starting salary can a person expect in this career?
That to start off, I would say maybe $17, $18 an hour starting off. With experience, you're probably looking at a higher pay rate, but of course it takes a little bit of time to get up there.
Of course. And what education or training was needed for your career?
For my career, since I am an EMT, mine was a little faster, but it's kind of similar to what nursing is. So my career was, I would say months, but it was quick, rapid. Like it was one after another. Like you really had to study. You really had just put everything you got into it, all the love, all everything. Just you would have to focus and just really just not stop.
Okay, can you elaborate on how you became an EMT and then how that transitioned into?
Yes. I started off as an EMT, but the hours were kind of long. So, like, I was honest in the beginning, I couldn't work long hours because I still have little ones. So that would kind of affect, even though it wasn't an everyday kind of tight, but you're looking at 12 hours, 24 hours, 48 hours shifts nonstop. So that kind of was a little bit of a no for me. But the adrenaline, I guess you could say, is what kept me going because I always like to learn new things. So when I would see a new case or when they would call people in respiratory distress, cardiac, anything, it would boost my adrenaline to like try and save this person, try and get there on time. But then I ran into Dr. Frias and Miss Claudia, um, and it just took a turn. I went for pediatric, and I love it.
What was the schooling needed to become an EMT at first?
Schooling was months, I guess you could say. It was about maybe 3.5, 4 months, a rapid course.
Okay.
Yes. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And then when you transitioned, did you have to go to extra school for nursing, or how did that work?
For that, yes, you do. For certain things, you do have to go. So you're kind of a blended, that's how I say it, a blended person into their career because you kind of get, I guess you could say, the nursing MA side over here, and then you have your first responder side over here. So you kind of know what to do in a situation when you're stuck in both,
Of course, I think that experience probably builds on your experience and.
Yes, it does.
And where did you attend school, and like what was the atmosphere like throughout that trip?
I attended school in Lakewood Ranch. It's Manatee Technical College, East Campus. You have your health professionals and law enforcement and fire there. And it was amazing because you learn a lot and you see a lot.
Anna?
Especially when yes.
Did you do the practical nursing program at MTC, or did you then go to State College of Florida and do registered nursing? Which track did you take?
The MTC.
Okay, so practical nurse?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
And how did you pay for your education?
I worked part-time to try and pay for my education before I signed up.
Okay.
So I tried to save my money before I signed up. I investigated, did my own little research, talked to people, talked to the counselors, and they helped me out a lot. They guided me through every step. Like he would not leave me behind because he's like, I know how interested you are. You've always called me. He's like, so I'm going to help you. So thank you to Mr. Toller because he got me into the program.
That's wonderful to hear. I think a lot of people, that guidance is what gets them through.
Yep.
And would you like to share a story about an interesting case you worked on or a patient that made an impact on your life?
I would say the first time I was doing my clinicals for EMT, I would say that the first time that they actually let me by myself, and I didn't know they were just going to throw me out there. They just told me, hey, come on, we're going to ride along. We're going to see what this call is about. And it was about a homeless guy. So I was like, okay, I'm over here like okay, I'm going to learn, I'm going to do this. No, once we got there, they're like, Rodriguez, go ahead, get everything down. So I got my little backpack down, everything, and I'm walking over there, putting on my mask. And I get there and they're like, it's your patient. And I just looked at them like, huh, what? It's your patient. And I'm like, okay. So, I got down because they were on the floor. So I kind of went down, started talking to them, asking them what was going on, triaging them, I guess you could say. They were alert. They were talking to me. They knew the date. They knew the year. They knew where they were at. And he was just a little bit dehydrated. I guess you could say I will never forget a certain smell because he used the bathroom on himself and I didn't know that until we put him on the stretcher. So he's one of the patients that I would never forget as starting into my career because I kind of knew like what to do with him. Just sometimes you just got to sit there and listen to them because sometimes they don't have anyone to speak to. So on the way to the hospital, he was just telling me everything, like all his medical problems and, what he used to be and why he ended up the way he did. So you kind of come face to face with reality, I would say, of certain situations that could possibly happen or in ways that certain things could go wrong. So I think that always stuck with me there, like just to see life a little bit more different.
That's a very interesting.
Than what normal people do.
Mm-hmm. And some of these patients kind of put their trust into the people.
Yes.
So
they do.
What is your best advice for students interested in pediatric nursing?
My best advice would be if you feel that it's for you, do it. Because your heart, your gut, I guess you could say, everything inside you would tell you and motivate you to keep doing it. If you like it, you will soon love it. Because that's what happened to me. I didn't think I would be able to work with children. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I didn't think I would be able to work with children, but I do, and I love it. Never give up in school. Always, it's going to be hard. You will have your moments where you want to kind of break down, but you got to push yourself to go through with it. Especially if you have little ones, you will be up late. And sometimes, like I said, you would want to give up, but you would have, well, the way I do, I would remember. I would think about like, hey, I put so much time into this. And I love the feeling of putting on my uniform. I love the feeling of going to work or going to school. And I love learning. So I would kind of suck it up and be like, you know what? No, I have to do this and push myself. And that's what I would want to tell everybody. Push yourself and know your limit. Because sometimes you don't have a limit to learning.
That's some great advice. Thank you so much, Anna, for being here with us today and answering all my questions. I really appreciate it. I know personally, I really enjoyed hearing your journey throughout those years. And I think that this interview will give students a better understanding of what it means and takes to be a pediatric nurse. So thank you.
Hopefully we get a lot more out there.
Yes, definitely.
And I would like to reiterate what Angela said. We sure do appreciate you taking the time, Anna. We know it's busy at your home, and I love it because we're having an interview with a pediatric nurse talking about little ones, and we can see and we can hear your little ones in the background. So thank you. I think that is completely appropriate for this video when we're talking about kids. So thank you for taking time away from your family to do this career chat with us.
Oh, you're welcome. And thank you guys for having me.
Absolutely. And thank you, Angela, for being our glorious intern interviewer this morning, Angela. All righty.